Brad's getting his drink in there just before we they'll go live button gets on. Was that just water, or was that a little bit of vodka as well?
No, it's straight water.
Straight water. We'll see how crazy you get during the show when we talk about Volcanicus.
Yes,
because you know what happens. the sphincter of the power of the primes line. It's the power of the sphincter. That means it's time for Australian Transformers Weekly. We are your first stop and your last best hope for Transformers news in Australia, and we're probably also after that, but probably we're probably going to get yanked off the air. This is episode 138. We are recording live on January 19th, 2018. This week, we will be talking about the newest Takara masterpiece. Hello. Gigga Power has a big dinobot on the way. All that and more is coming up after this.
Did I really write it like that? I just had it before. I was rushing.
All right, I think that's it. The intro's done, right? The intro's done, right? Yes, cool. Okay, production? Yep. Yes, good. We're good to go. Hello, I am Jason. Joining me this week, we have Brad coming from an undisclosed location somewhere in country Victoria.
Hello.
That is officially your introduction now.
Yeah, okay. I'm not
and
really...
Chris coming to us from Queensland, officially the past.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like to think of it as a time portal to the future. So, you know, you can look at it however you like. But
and probably the coolest out of us all too.
Yeah, he probably is, because Brad Melbourne had a good 42 degrees today. Sydney had 30. And what did Queensland have today? What did Brisbane have?
Pretty high. We had like 34 on average.
Fair enough.
But it wasn't muggy or anything. It was like super arid and nice. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You just couldn't stay in it for too long.
Yeah, I love a nice hot day when there's no humidity around. However, usually a nice hot day means tons of humidity. So, great.
Yeah, no, I was at the transfer station at 4 o'clock this Savo. It was 41.2. Unloading steel out of the trailer into a scrap bin, and it was hot. I needed gloves.
Yeah,
I had my hat. I wet my hat before I got out of the car. But by the time I'd finished, the hat was dry.
Oh, wow.
Could you have just opened up your own smelt?
Yeah. Yeah, just sit on the back of the truck and let the sun do its work.
Fair enough. I think you might find that a few members of the group might have liked you to make some feet for their Transformers as well, if that was the case. Now, that kind of answers the question of what you've been up to this week, except, Brad, you've also been getting twisted, but we're going to talk about that in the next segment. Chris, what have you been up to? In fact, is this the first time we've had you on this year?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah,
it is. How was your Christmas and Happy New Year?
Thank you. Christmas was great. Got Triptychon. So, but yeah, I'm currently smack bang in the middle of moving into a new house at the moment. I'm actually broadcasting live from the new place. So, today was moving around a lot of furniture, and it's kind of cool though, because I get to get all my Transformers out of their boxes and start putting them where they're supposed to go and seeing what they actually look like, half of them. So
you're giving your Transformers their forever homes.
That's it. Yeah, some of them, honestly, I haven't even really had a chance to look at since I purchased them, and because they've just gone straight into storage, knowing that I was going to move so soon. So, some of them I'm pulling out and going, oh, that's right. Yeah, got Blitzwing. Nice. So, there's been a lot of that. It makes the putting up the display a little bit slower though. So, yeah.
I think out of the stuff that I have in storage, because there's a bunch of stuff in a cupboard that I'm looking at just off camera here. There's a bunch of things that I kind of want to take out and put on display, but I actually don't have enough shelf space left. But the one thing that I think I want to get out is because it's come out recently from KFC with the Strato Tanker. I've got Unique Toys provider, and he's never really had that much of a chance to be displayed. So I want to get him out and put him into bot mode and put him up on a shelf. I'll see how I go with that over the next few weeks.
That's what they need to do. That's why you buy these things.
Yeah. That is my goal for the next few weeks, is to open a Transformer and put him on display. Good job. I'm stupidly busy sometimes. Yeah, look, should we get down to it? It's time we started talking about some Transformers. Not that we haven't been talking about Transformers. Let's talk about a few more Transformers.
Yeah.
Right, sounds good. If you want to put my screen up, Brad, I've got the winner of Bot Shots. Now, Bot Shots is the weekly competition in the TCCA Facebook group. We encourage you to take your bots out from behind their display shelves and just behind glass, and I'll take them off the shelf and put them out in the world and take a photograph of them. And as you can see, very colloquially and a very Australian entry this week is that Snarl accidentally stood on an Australian seatbelt that's been sitting in the hot summer sun, and he's burned his foot very, very significantly. Because I think we've all had that reaction where we've sat down in the front seat of a car, and it's just gives you that second, and then you're like, oh, what's that?
And that second's all it takes to get branded. Yeah, you get branded.
Yep, that's right, and that will take. That'll be there for the rest of summer, basically. So, yeah.
And it was a great use of the flame effect too. I hadn't noticed that on my phone, but looking at the camera, the photo closely now, just seeing that flame effect on his front foot.
So does that come with him in the box or something? I'm not actually familiar. Is this the Fans Toys version?
No, this is smaller. This looks almost G1. It doesn't look Masterpiece size.
He's not a G1.
No, like G1 scale. But
yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's one of the Fans Project ones. Not sure. I don't know. No, you're right. It looks fairly G1 like. I don't know. Scale wise, the foot on the seat belt. Also, I think that's a kid's seat as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe he's actually one of the he might be one of the Justa Toys ones or something. Anyway, congratulations, Craig Goodweed, this week's winner. You have successfully stopped Brad winning again with this one that I put up, but I seem to have lost. There we are. You've successfully stopped Brad winning, and Brad went to a lot of effort this week. He arranged a few bots playing Twister, which I think it's something we actually talked about doing on the podcast a while ago. But full marks to the president of TCCA for putting a lot of toys on display. And setting them all up playing Twister. You can see Wheelie over on the left is spinning the dial, although it looks oddly like it's stuck in that position. Triptychon is anxious to play. Ultra Magnus is loosened up so much that he's taken his belt off.
Yeah.
And we got RC. Yeah. We got RC, Starscream. I can't tell who the white guy is.
That's Wheeljack.
No, on the Twister map.
Oh, that's the Takara Evasion Prime.
Yeah, cool.
And Masterpiece Rumble one, Frenzy under him.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell which one for a number of reasons. But well done, and it is a shame that you got pipped by Craig. But let's be honest, that is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I was spewing because the whole point of it was to have Arachnid from Prime sort of cheating, but then I remember transformed into a helicopter and not a spider, so I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
Should have just used Black Arachnia.
Should have gotten one of your Beast Wars out.
Yeah, I know, but they're in bot mode.
No, too bad.
Yeah, I know.
This is why you didn't win.
That's rough. Yeah, just wouldn't put the effort in.
We're in bot mode. Oh. All right, shall we move on and talk about some news? We have some big news this week, which is that
some powerful news.
Some primal news.
Is there a kick button on this hangout? Because I may end up doing this show alone. The power of the primes has finally hit Australian retailers. Ozform has reported this afternoon that the toys have hit Toy World stores, and Chris Stefau has I don't know if I'm pronouncing his surname actually, has reported that they are indeed at Toy World in Werribee Plaza. However, this news comes with a slight sting in its tail because if we make this a little bit bigger, and I don't know if I can actually zoom in on this image. I'm going to find out. I'm going to just. No, can't zoom in on it.
You tried.
Do your key.
Yeah, I
do your
tried.
keyboard.
So if we look at this, then if I zoom in on the keyboard, it will mess up every other browser tab that I have open.
Okay.
Let's not tempt fate, gentlemen.
let's not. So what we can see here is that we can see Dreadwind and Swoop, and we can see a few Prime Masters down the bottom as well. And we do have confirmation that the leaders were also in the store as well, because they're showing up here as well with this photo too. Now, the bad news here is while we've been waiting for these to come along all this time, there's been a bit of a price hike in some of our size classes. Now, you're not going to be able to make this out here, but the evolution mode Rodimus Prime, it's the leader class figure. The leader classes do seem to have had a bit of a $5 increase. They are now retailing at $94.99. Voyagers are still going for $50, so that's good. Legends down here, so we've got Scrapnel, and if we, I do not know how to go back to doing that. Legends are still $20. Prime Masters is still $10. Deluxes are now $34.99.
Oh,
and that's.
Are we sure this isn't just Toy World pricing though? Because they do. We're not a little bit extra.
We're not sure of anything, but they haven't whacked extra on the Voyagers and the Legends and the Prime Masters. So I don't know that that's always true. But the other thing
I know they were charging more for movie deluxes than anybody else on yours was. By about $4 or $5.
Movie deluxes had a higher RRP. So the problem is that the RRP of these things has actually gone up in the last couple of years. We've been sheltered from this with Titan's Return. I'm pretty sure that you will find that the recommended retail price for Titan's Return was actually about $32, but most of our retailers, they absorbed that extra price and they kept them at $29. Kmart kept them at $25, but that is probably a bit too much for them to absorb now. So it looks like the recommended retail for these guys might well be $35. We have also heard from someone else in the group who saw them at another store that they were $37.99. Now, it is entirely possible that that's someone going, I know these are brand new and they're highly sought after because they're brand new. So I'm just going to gouge it a little bit. I would encourage you to find an online retailer who is not going to charge this price for these figures. We have a number of them in the TCCA BST group on Facebook, and a lot of them have Power of the Prime stuff either available or on order. So highly encouraged to check out some online retailers and get some better prices on your figures.
Yeah, to those collectors that did go into Toy and said, "Oh wow, you've got these figures. You're the first ones to do it," and give them the idea to say, "Hey, let's crank up the price."
I don't think that's what happened. I think honestly, I think Toy World's charging RRP.
Yeah. With this though, I can't recall anything from Toy World really about getting Titan's Return first. They just sort of had them when everyone else did. Or this might be a little bit of a blowover from Combiner Wars, where they had $20 deluxes and $8 and $12 Legends figures for Combiner Wars, that first two waves, and everyone was running to Toy World because they were so much cheaper than everyone else.
But it's also because I don't think they rotate their stock very well, because I've been into my local Toy World and they'll have like a selection of the newer figures. But I mean, to be fair, sometimes they got stuff I don't see anywhere else, like the G1 reissues and stuff like that, the box sets. But I've also noticed, like, I'm talking when Titan's Return first came out, they still had bulk of deluxes from the AOE movie, like that long ago,
It's worth pointing out that we are looking at an Age of Extinction drift right under the Power of the Prime.
There you go. That's my point, though, is that I think that's why they're sort of unique compared to the other retailers, is because they just work their stock differently. Like they'll buy a whole bunch of stuff and then just like over a huge period of time, just drip it through and, but I don't know, that's just a theory, but that just seems to be the way I've noticed they work, is there's always much older shelf warming figures alongside like the new releases and the rarer ones that, Because yeah, sometimes you do find stuff in there that I haven't seen in like Kmart or Target or something like that. So
I'm gonna
My
go on.
my
I'm gonna
eyes
go
might
on-
be off, but is that drift 32.99 or 27.99?
It is. I think it's been reduced. No, I think you're right. I think its sale price is $32.99.
For a 5-step or 3-step drift?
That is at least $10 per step.
Yeah. Well,
for a paperweight, for a paperweight, that's all. That's all that thing would be.
I've got that figure. It's a fun little figure, but yeah, it's not.
So if I could go on a little bit of a flight of fancy
All right.
here, name me the Australian retailers who stock Transformers regularly. Kmart, Target, Myer, Toys
Big
R Us,
W.
Toymate, Big W, and Toy World, right?
Yep.
Anyone else? Like there's a few other little stores around.
You get
right? But those are the
independent
retail.
like comic stores and stuff,
Yeah.
like but not
the
like
big retail
other big
chains. That's
chains.
them. Yeah.
So
Oh, and
Brad,
of course you've got Reject Shop, yeah.
yep.
Oh, if you
The
like
latest
it.
shop.
So Brad, when you met some guys from Hasbro last year when we saw Misfire and Slugslinger, I think it was, for the first time, and they told us that regrettably some of the platinum figures, some of the platinum figures weren't going to come to Australia. But they also told you at the time that they were a little bit upset about some of the Australian retail chains and what they've been doing with Combiner Wars and with Titans Return, because they'd basically ordered a lot of the first wave and then shell formed and not restocked subsequent waves. So perhaps sending this wave into Toy World is actually a bit of a shot across the bow of some of the bigger retailers, saying, hey, if you actually play properly by us, then you'll get newer stock as well. So I know a lot of the big chain stores, they just get whatever stock they're given. So maybe it is just a case of they're going to have to wait and see what happens for their stock. Maybe they'll make it out this weekend. Who knows? We might all go to Target and Kmart tomorrow and find Power of the Primes all over the place. But recall that with Titans Return, we found that one wave went to one store, another wave went to another store, and so it's entirely possible that Toy World is the place to go for wave 1. And Kmart, Target might be the place to go for wave 2, and so on and so forth. We will see how that goes.
Yep. And they'll double up a lot on sort of the lesser wanted figures.
Yeah.
I've still got Combiner Wars Blaster on my shelves here.
Is he down at $29 again, or is he back at 90?
No, he's at 59 or something, $60. So
yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. So my nephew got not Commanders, the Titans Return Soundwave for Christmas and absolutely loves it. So like, might get him a cheap blaster for his birthday. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that Soundwave, I've got that one. It's really, really good. I didn't think I'd like it, but it was just sort of like the last decent figure that I didn't have at the time. And when I picked it up, I was actually really surprised at how cool it is. Because it's not like people keep automatically comparing it to the MP, but I guess because of its liter scale and all the little add-ons and the price tag and everything.
The price.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, it's just a cool little alternative. Like, it may not be MP quality and looks and that, but you can do heaps more stuff with him. Like he's got an extra mode, and you can sort of interact with those tape mobile phone minions they brought out across Combiner Wars and Titans Return, So, yeah, I like him. I was really pleasantly surprised. And, yeah, it's a nifty little gift for a kid as well for that same reason.
Yeah, and the transformation's pretty simple on it too. It's not overly detailed, and it puts stuff where it needs to go. So, yeah. No, I'm gonna have a look out tomorrow for some Power the Prime stuff. Although I'm sure all the KOs would be here before the official stuff gets here.
Really? The Power of the Primes?
Yeah. Well, yeah. In one of my local independent stores here, they love shopping KO. there's four lots.
No, but KOs are Power of the Primes. Not likely.
Oh, yeah, maybe not Power of the Primes. They might be just getting Titans Return or even movie stuff.
Yeah, they move fast though.
Yeah, I'll take some photos if I see something funny.
Sometimes the KO comes out like before the actual figure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's very likely.
Yeah, no, I don't think so for the Chug Rangers, like Power of the Primes and that, but they move pretty quick with third-party stuff and MP stuff as far as, how rapidly they generate KOs. They've just changed the scale, or,
They've been picking up, but like it still takes them time to actually cast the molds and get the manufacturing right on them. I mean, the ones at least the ones that care about the quality of their figure, like like the Wei Jiangs and stuff like that. Like they're only just bringing out their KO of Megatron, right? And that's that's a figure that's a good 8 months old. Like that, and they pick weird deluxes to upscale, and it's just like, oh, okay, there's an oversized KO of this one. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
it seems almost random.
Just to correct my earlier look, at that drift is actually $12.99.
It is 12, is it?
Yeah, it's $12.99.
It looks like a 3.
Yeah, down from $17.99. The the Hound besides $21.99. I'd love to know what the Grimlock up there is, but yeah, $34.99.
You're right. It's $17.99 down to $12.99. Yeah, but
there's a lot of AOE stuff on that shelf.
Yeah,
there is.
So, all right,
there is. All right, we might move on because the other most sought after toy line in the collector sphere is, of course, Masterpiece, the Takara series, and there's a new Masterpiece on the. Not necessarily on the block yet. He is due for release in August, but it is Masterpiece Shadow Panther. And I have to be really careful when I say this because I made this joke this morning that Takara is cashing in on Marvel's Black Panther, and so I went to call the Masterpiece Black Panther just then. So, that is a very different figure. That's probably from Hot Toys, that one. So yeah, Masterpiece Shadow Panther. He is a rework of Cheetor. I think I'm not sure that I have Cheetor. I need to.
I don't remember him from Beast Wars. Do you, Brad?
He is in fact not from the normal Beast Wars that we're used to. He is actually from Takara's offshoot of Beast Wars.
Oh, okay. Are you talking toy-wise? I know they've got like Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo, the cartoons, but was he a character in one of them? Or I just don't remember him.
I think he's from Beast Wars 2, but someone will probably correct me. Regardless,
he seems super obscure for a character. He looks cool. I like him and stuff, but yeah,
they need to repaint into something.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they have to repaint this into something. Like they have to get their value out of the mold, right? There's a few other photos of him around. TFW's handily posted a bit of a thread, so you got a bit of a look at his. Got a bit of a look at his beast mode there. There's an alternate
is he
head design.
Is he a Predacon or a Maximal?
I'm going to say because they've got a lot of purple all over the I think he is probably a Predacon.
No, there are no logos.
I honestly do not know. And there's no logos on these guys.
I thought that the head might have been resculpted there, the cat head on his chest.
There is actually something that I did not know today when this was actually announced, is that he is in fact a Takara Tomy Mall exclusive, and because he's a repaint of MP34,
he's a straight repaint.
He is MP34S, so he doesn't get his own. He doesn't get his own number, but he will be a Takara Tomy Mall exclusive, released for 8,000 yen in August.
It's amazing they're waiting that long. Like, this seems like something easy they could slip in between now and Dinobot.
I think if you so Dinobot himself is only due in May or June, isn't he?
June, I think.
Yeah, so give him another month or so, and there's another Masterpiece. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So also it says here handily, thank you, TFW. The original Shadow Panther toy was, in fact, a straight repaint of the first Beast Wars Cheetah toy. So,
surprised.
And so Cheetah had a communications band that was not used in the final product, and this guy will be getting it.
Okay.
There are apparently some photos from Takara Tomy on Twitter. This could be a problem because the last time I opened up a link to Twitter live on the podcast, did not get what we expected. But yeah, and so if we click through to Takara Tomy Mall, perhaps we'll find it. Here, look at that. Look at that wonderful screen just showing like white with my mouse pointer on it.
Oh, so that's 8,600 there.
Yeah,
Is that a mouse head?
yeah. No, that's his cat head.
No, down the bottom there. The bottom one there.
No, that's the alternate face for him.
Oh, I thought it was a skull to start with, but
yeah,
he's got the sharp teeth as well.
So yeah, there's the communicator band as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Takara's new masterpiece is look. I really like the look of the bot. He looks really good. You know, I'm not really a fan of Beast Wars stuff, but I have been collecting the Beast Wars masterpieces, so you know, I'm becoming a fan. So yeah,
there's some nice silver, on it for $90. I'd get one to have in its robot mode because mine's in beast mode at the moment. But
yeah.
I'll see what the local suppliers get it for when they come over.
Well, so he's a Takara Tomy Mall exclusive.
Oh,
so,
$500.
well, so look, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only place to get him, because we know that a lot of the Conehead Seekers were also Takara Tomy Mall exclusives, yet they ended up released by Hasbro Asia as well. So it's at this stage, that doesn't mean that they'll be the only place to get him.
And you watch this. They'll have thousands of these produced where not enough Coneheads got out there.
Yeah.
I think there's enough Coneheads out there.
All
right. Let's move on, shall we? Gigga Power has released the third bot in their Masterpiece Dinobot collection. He is Gravita. He is a Masterpiece styled sludge. He's huge. Like he looks huge in this photo, and he's huge in person. They are, however, slightly smaller in scale than the Fans Toys Dinobots, but they also look fairly similar as well. So as you can see, he comes with his plasma rifle, dual missile launchers, unlike Brad's entry in the run sheet that says dual misleading launchers, and an energy.
Well, they're dangerous too.
They are.
Yeah, let's just say the editors of CFW don't always go over their writings.
The editor of our run sheet doesn't either. But yeah, there's lots of good looks at this guy here. Look, if there's one thing that I think has gone over well in the third-party collecting community, it's masterpiece scaled Dinobots, because these guys have got such a head start on Takara in doing these. If Takara's ever going to do them at all, and like they're probably not. But yeah,
have they said they're going to ever? Or
Takara doesn't say anything. So yeah, there's a nice in-package shot of him. I love the way third parties are just like, we can save 10 centimeters on this packaging if we close this thing up, so that when you pull him out, you've got to do some stuff. Like, yeah. But yeah, look at that. Who's a pretty boy?
Very nice.
Very nice. Yes,
he's a lot more silver than what the Fans Toys ones have got.
He does seem to have a lot of chrome on him, although I kind of feel like that's the lighting on this photo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting, you got the Autobot symbol on him too.
Oh, that's
true. Is it
interesting?
It's not there on most of the shots.
Or the package image. Yeah.
Package image looks a little different, actually.
Cheeky.
Yeah,
it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest Autobot logo in the face of the planet.
No.
There's a couple of different faces there for him. There's red eyes and blue eyes. Not really sure about the mouth sculpt on that, but sure. And in fact, there's a different Autobot symbol as well. It's a bit of a look at some of the sort of smoky colored plastic covering up some of the detail in him as well. He is really nice and detailed. Look at that chrome. Are we in fact looking at the reflection of the camera?
Yes, we are. I can see a hand there.
Yeah, I can see a finger. So yeah,
impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, he looks pretty impressive. He's just been released. So you should be able to find him. Oh, there we go. There's all the TFW reactions. You should be able to find him at your favorite third-party retailer. These guys have become quite popular, I think, as Fans Toys has sort of moved on from the Dinobots. I think there's a new generation of collectors that are going for these guys instead of Fans Toys, because the Fans Toys ones are super hard to find. So, yeah, I think they'll appreciate this new entry in the collection.
Yeah, they look great. He looks great.
Do we know how much he's going for? Like,
that's the next question.
$1 million.
Well, that's US. Like in Australian dollars, like you basically need to give away a state.
Yeah.
Oh, we crossed over the 80-cent mark, so we're creeping up.
Did we? I didn't know that. Fair enough. Parody's not gonna happen again. But
nah.
Well, all I can say is he looks very heavy, and good luck with postage on that.
He does. He does. I reckon we're looking at some die cast inside his leg here as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Storm was 2.5 or 2.3 kilos in box. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on? We're going to move on and look at some new figures from Mech Planet, who've been kicking a lot of goals for the last year with their Hot Soldiers line. These guys sort of came out of nowhere, and just like Fans Toys, they're releasing their figures out of order because this is HSO2. Is their Legend Scale Optimus Prime. He looks great. These figures, like, they're great. They're made cheap and cheerful. Sometimes they don't have swivels for some of their arm joints. As you can see, sort of Soundwave's shoulders have to move in order to get his arms to move. But they come out at like a $25 price point. And so this Optimus Prime, considering the size of him and the price of him, really good, really detailed. Really looking forward to seeing him. There's a bit of a group shot with some of the ones they've released so far. Ratchet and Ironhide, Bumblebee, and of course Soundwave's up there as well. So like he's a slightly bigger bot, and he'll be a welcome addition to people's collections. I think if they're collecting these figures, and at the price, why wouldn't you? Unless you, I don't know, just only collect Decepticons.
Hey, well, who's Iron Factory is doing that Decepticon Justice Division combiner this year, so don't can us out of the Legend Scale, mate. We've got it covered.
What's the point in making a DJD combiner? I don't know. There was a good
money.
I'm definitely going to buy that thing.
There was a good discussion in the discussion. We need to watch the crosstalk. There was good discussion in the discussion group today about why everyone thinks Dinobots combine. So yeah. Oh, look at that! Look at that! You can actually fit. He comes with a trailer, and B, you can fit the other figures in the trailer. That is a master stroke.
Wow. We were talking last year when we seen the waves, because they were later numbers, and thinking maybe 1 and 2 might have been Megatron and Prime. And it's taken this long for them to get the Prime, which is 2 out. We still haven't seen 1 yet, so I wonder if that is Megatron that's coming. But these look fantastic.
Possibly, yeah. Because I think Soundwave is HSO3, and so like I said, they're releasing them out of order like Fans Toys.
Yeah.
What even is continuity?
Yeah.
All right. So that is not the only story we have for Mech Planet tonight. They also have another Hot Soldiers. So they're getting a little bit away from the G1 style Hot Soldiers. They're bringing out Hearts of Steel, which is a fairly well regarded IDW, or was it Dreamwave? I think it was IDW.
Dreamwave.
Maybe it was.
It's very old.
It is quite old. It was set back in the 19th century, when everything was, of course, steam powered and trains. And so there's been a couple of releases of Hearts of Steel. Hearts of Steel was intended to be part of Evolution. So it was Evolution's Hearts of Steel, and so Hearts of Steel was the sort of steampunk version. The Evolution's brand never went anywhere. But this guy looks pretty cool for a little Legend Scale figure again. I would actually be really interested to see more of these, because I feel like I feel like Mech Planet might be able to pump these out within a year, like just get them all done instead of us having to wait, like 18 months between releases.
Oh, fantastic looking figure. It's probably my most loved line that I've never collected.
Yeah.
I know you had the Prime, Jason. I've seen someone that had the Shockwave iron boat that just...
do you mean the submarine?
Iron boat.
I thought it was a pedal steamer. All right. There you go. And even seeing some of the Seekers as well as biplanes, I just love to get into the line. And if these guys are Legends figures, like some of the detail, and they've still got the articulation. Well, it looks like there's only an elbow bend and not an elbow pivot, but there's mushroom pegs on the bottom of the shoulders there, so he might have a bit of movement. But just the detail on those train wheels and the drive rods and that there, like fantastic.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, these guys surprise with the detail that they put into the figures, I think. And I think they're getting a little bit more daring as their figures have been more accepted by the community as well.
Yeah, I don't want it to be bright yellow.
Wow. No, he'd probably match up to his comic. I can't remember, but pretty sure they were all like very dull, like steampunk, Iron Age kind of colors, like metal colors and stuff. So, I don't think they're going to go and do that. Just put him in his G1 colors because I don't remember him being like that. Yeah,
a bit of weathered yellow.
I think it might end up with a sort of a weathered color scheme rather than being bright
rusty
yellow.
yellow.
I think so.
Well, the boiler on the front would have to be timber. Looks like timber battens there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, can't wait.
Anyway, indeed. Now we covered a little bit of Power of the Prime stuff earlier in the show, and there's this hot mess that we need to talk about. Brad, what's his name?
It's Volcanus.
Yep.
I didn't stop.
So Volcanicus is the combined form of the Dinobots, and just like every other combiner that we've had in any of the Generations lines for the last few years, Perfect Effect is right there with an upgrade set for it. So
yep.
They are giving us they're giving us 5 swords that can combine to form a big one. There's a shield, there's a couple of arms, a couple of thighs, a dino fighter for some reason, and a combined part, which I don't know, whatever. This does look slightly upgraded to the normal release, but it still looks like a bit of a hot mess.
There is one slight problem here. Sludge and Snarl have been extricated.
There's the points. Extricated, you say?
Not there.
Maybe they were extradited.
So you know why this is, right? It's because whoever at Perfect Effect is putting this together has not been able to actually go out and purchase all of the Dinobots because
good point.
there's only 2 of the Deluxes and a Voyager in Wave 1.
That's that's pretty cheeky when you can't even get the bots that you're upgrading to the upgrade for that bot.
But if you look at it, like they're not really touching the figures themselves, right? They're adding some thigh pieces and adding a few things around them. So
that groin and chest plate just look like Power Rangers accessories. They should be on a Megazord or something.
They seem to be really. Oh, sorry, Jason. Go on.
I think the chest piece looks like it's meant to evoke the Matrix.
Or a Prime Master, or I don't know. I haven't seen them all yet, but I know the sword seems to be a direct reference to the Fall Cybertron game. Because there's a level where you Grimlock and you go nuts with that sword, and it pretty much looks exactly like it does in the game. So I think that's it's a bit of a nod to those fans of the FSC games or whatever. It's a pretty kind of iconic Grimlock weapon. So I know it's Volcanicus. Yeah, it's Volcanicus, or Lava Boy, or whatever you want to call him.
I gotta say, I don't really think that much of the swords and the weapons in their individual forms.
No,
Mm.
but he does have a flaming codpiece.
Yeah. That's his most powerful weapon.
Only the best combiners have a flaming codpiece.
Mm.
Oh well, so that's Me and Max
You haven't
talked about
tried?
this a couple of weeks ago about we're going to make upgrade pates or like new legs and feet and everything else, but they're still going to have the the Gatling guns under them like the other combinable stuff had, just to make armored Dino Riders.
Yeah, basically. I think the overriding picture the overriding theme for this line will be whack a Prime Master in it.
Yeah.
But that's perfect effect though. They do that with almost all their upgrade kits. Is like, like the ones for Bruticus. I've got one, like the feet and the hands. They all transform into like weapons and power packs and things that you can actually chuck on it as well. But I think they know that you're going to use that foot as a foot.
Yeah.
I think it's just a cool thing to be able to go, oh yeah, well it's also guns. Did you see that? Like it sort of gives it more of a purpose other than just bringing out a $30 box of feet and hands.
Well, there you go. It makes it a $50 box of feet and hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is a bit interesting. I didn't actually realize that some of those upgrades are actually just for Grimlock. Makes them a little bit bigger. But the most interesting thing out of that here I see is that they've given you complete replacements for the thighs. So like you're going to have to unscrew that and attach some new pieces. But it does look like they're quite welcome upgrades there. I think I do like the end result. He looks like a bit more of a brute.
It doesn't fix that chest. That's a boxy chest.
It's not going to fix the chest, but it does actually make it a little bit more in proportion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind that, but like I'm basically not interested in Power of the Prime's Dinobots. Like I don't know what I am going to buy out of this line. Probably not that much.
Just go back up to the combined mode again.
He looks equally unimpressive as the King Starscream combiner because every time I see that thing, I'm like, oh, am I supposed to like this? Because I really don't. I'm really not excited about it.
I feel like we'll just combine it out.
Yeah, I get a bit of that.
I just don't want another combiner. There was enough of them over the last few years that like, why do you need more combiners?
Yeah. I mean it's a go-to now. Anytime they seem to go, oh, what should we do with this guy? They go, can make him a combiner. Like, and yeah, we've got enough. You're right. I'm sort of over him. I've got like 6 different versions of Bruticus. Like, you get to a point where you're just like, I like the character and I like what you've done with it, but can we try something different for a while? Like, stop making me buy these awesome, better combiners than you did last time.
So 6 is where you draw the line?
Well, I have actually had a look at another Bruticus since and gone, you know what? Like, I've got enough. I don't need any more.
Who even are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm even now looking at the fact that I'm happy with the Predator King I've got. I've got the oversized Feral Rex, and now that I know they're bringing out a pair of the Primes Predator King, and he's going to be relatively big as well, because with the Voyager size limbs and everything, I'm like, oh, well, great. Now I've got to get him, and I'm going to have to make a painful decision as to whether I'm just going to, for some reason, have 2 Predator Kings on display, or whether I want to cull one, or I don't know.
You know what? We should be seeing those Predacons sometime soon.
I hope so.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen any leaks from like a factory floor or anything like that.
Well, they did release that leak ages ago, where it was basically just there was no definition in half the limbs. Like, it was just their their ultimate prototype with nothing really done on it, sort of thing. But that's all I've seen of it. I've seen box art. I've seen a breakdown of like what the figures will be and what size they'll be and stuff. But I've never actually seen anything beyond the promise of Predator King coming. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something that we might see coming up at conventions in the next few months, or maybe that guy might come out. He might be the mid-year release, like Fort Maxwell's Fort Max last year. No, Triptychon was last year. Fort Max the year before. Devastator the year before that. Metroplex the year before that. I think we can assume that Predaking will be, sort of the mid-year big toy release.
Yes. So Nuremberg in the middle of Feb's when we should be seeing his first photos of him.
I think so. Hopefully that guy won't be standing in front of him the whole week.
Well, I just know that I'm really kind of hoping that they make it a box set rather than release them individually, which I'm pretty sure they would do because that's what they
same
did.
As Devi.
Yeah, Devastator and all that. They've done it before. I just know it's, as somebody who's, as I just mentioned, collected a lot of combiners, it is far more frustrating an experience trying to hunt down certain limbs and get the right version of what you want or whatever. But it just makes it so much easier when what you want is just right there all in one box. You pay what you normally would anyway for buying them separately. So yeah, I hope they do that, but I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah, look, I think it's very likely that, like Devastator, they will be released in the one set. Right. That is the end of the news. Which means it's time to move on and talk about new acquisitions. Now, Brad and Chris don't have anything listed in the run sheet. Is that correct?
Yeah, nothing this week.
Chris, that is not correct for you. I know that for a fact.
No. I've basically gotten so much new stuff that I can't even talk about half of them. Like in the last 2 weeks, maybe doubled my collection as it stands.
Oh, wow.
So
pick up some figures and tell us what's arrived.
Okay, well, I can't pick him up because he's over there, but one of my most exciting acquisitions this week has been Combiner Wars Devastator.
Nice.
He's just one. He's obviously been around for a while, and most people have got him, but it's just taken me this long to get him because I've had other things I wanted more at the time or whatever. But an opportunity fell in my lap to grab him as well, and so I'm happy to have him. So basically I took advantage of the fact that while Jason was overseas recently, I got him to
going around lately.
I got him to pick up a box set that I believe you posted it to the group, Jason, about what's available on the shelves overseas. And and seeing it immediately, I was like, man, because they didn't release the box set in question in Australia. He picked me up a set called the Armada of Cyclonus. So what it is, it's basically is it the 30th anniversary special edition thing they did?
I think
of the movie, of the G1 movie. So what they've done is they've re-released some pretty classic and recognizable Chug Deluxes. So we've got the universe.
I love the transparent
Cyclonus. It's awesome, man. It's so cool. So basically, as you can see, they've replaced certain bits of him with that translucent plastic, and get a light behind that, and it looks really cool. I think they're trying to emulate the effect of in the movie when the Decepticons are being transformed into, reformatted into Cyclonus or whatever. Parts of them sort of glow pink at stages and stuff like that, and purple. He also comes with probably the coolest repaint of Chug Scourge I've seen. Only his wings are translucent on this one, and his weapon, and I think his arms as well. They've all got like severely awesome light piping happening there, as you can see. Once that's behind a light, it just glows. So that's a really nice Scourge. Also, there's really cool paintwork done on this. And it comes with sort of like a generic sweep, which I think the most striking thing about him is that his face doesn't have the typical Scourge mustache, and he's got a slightly different color scheme. And but it's interesting because normally you have to army build to get a sweep. You have to buy another Scourge, regardless of which ones you collect. He's sort of, as far as I know, he's the only officially released just sweep that isn't Scourge. I think I'm not sure. I think that might be for the special edition one, the con one, the DevCon retool
That's
that
right.
they did. I think that might be DevCon's face, just repainted.
That's right. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So yeah, thanks for that, Jason. I've actually really been excited about these ones. Like I said, I've gotten Devastator and a few other really cool bots recently. But this lot I've been the most excited about because I'm sort of working on a Unicronian themed collection, and they go really nicely with, say, like, I've got the standard Chug Cyclonus. Him with a version of him sort of still being formed behind him looks really, really cool on display. And yeah, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think I'll keep it short and sweet. Just because he's in
a couple of weeks
ago. Sorry, go on, mate.
Well, last time you were on, you're talking about getting the Titans Return sweep snap to paint up and customize.
Oh yeah,
but you're still going to do that, or these are going to replace? These are going to cancel that project.
I've been army building for a while, so I've got dozens of sweeps and this, that, and the other. So I'll probably do something with that. I won't pick him up because he weighs more than my son, but that's Titans Return Triptychon. I got off my fiance for Christmas, so he's he doesn't even need to be spoken about. He's like one of the coolest Transformers ever made. So I was happy to get that. And I'll cap it off by saying, amongst all the things I've gotten recently, I really like this guy too. Actually got him today. This is the Takara Gaia Unicron.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's basically the Transformers Prime version of Unicron. Rather than transforming into a planet, he transforms into Unicron's head. And he also has it's like, as you can see there, it's a fairly detailed, that's his back, but that becomes his face when he's in head mode, I guess. You can actually fit his head onto the Chug Unicron. It doesn't look very good, but you can. But also the other cool really gimmick about him, and I'm a bit annoyed that I don't actually have a Transformers Prime Megatron, because apparently the Transformers Prime Megatron and the Transformers Prime Optimus, you can break this guy apart and he becomes a suit of armor for either of the leaders. And it's really weird. They've actually even got like its own backstory. Like apparently Lio Convoy made Unicron into some armor, and that like it's this weird evil relic now. And if you're not strong enough, it turns you evil and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just fascinating. But what I like to have him for on display is I just have him underneath my Universe Unicron, which is in planet mode. Just as a cool, he's very meticulously like designed to sort of be a tribute to your G1 Unicron, even though it's got the form of that Prime Unicron. So, but yeah, I was just really impressed with him. It might just be because he's brand new, just opened him up today, but he's also the paint. I don't know if the light's picking that up, but that's all gold, gold plastic. So actually, it's painted gold plastic. Thank God, because we all know about gold plastic. But yeah, as you can see, I don't know if that translates very well, but he's just a really awesome looking Unicron. And I haven't actually seen him before I saw him for sale. I didn't know he existed, so I was like, yes, please, I'll have him.
I said it once. I was in a 2-pack with the Voyager Prime.
Yeah.
At Myer.
I
think it was $150 or something. I've gone, no, not for 2 Voyagers. Not like this.
So yeah, I've as I've stated, I've had a huge influx. Currently in the middle of moving house and still opening up boxes that have Transformers I haven't even like picked up yet. So it's been really good. But yeah, they're the highlights, I guess. They're the ones that have really stuck out that I've been excited about. So yeah, what about yourself, Jason?
Fantastic. I got a couple of masterpieces this week. I'm picking up some things tomorrow, but we'll talk about them next week. So I got an EMS delivery from Japan this week with some new masterpiece cassettes.
Oh, nice.
That was a sudden intake of air from Brad there. So yeah, so this is the new cassette bot and cassettetron set. So there's I actually don't know the names of the of them all, but I know this one's enemy. So he's if you
He's like a Rumble, yeah.
if you were confused about whether Rumble was red and Frenzy was blue, or
here's one that's red and blue.
Yeah, imagine how this guy feels every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's a pretty standard repaint of the Universe Rumble and Frenzy mold, Universe the Masterpiece one. The interesting thing, guys. Obviously, this guy's the repainted Ratbat, and this guy. So this one I know is at least Stripes. So where's my camera? There he is. So this guy's a redo of Ravage, but they have at least, if I can get that up there. It's probably not going to focus on him, so whatever. But he does have a slightly different head design. So they did change that a little. And they also gave him different weapons. So swapped a few things around there.
Was it Stripes created for Combiner Wars?
Nope.
No,
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
He might have been because of that laser beak. Oh, sorry, that buzzsaw that came out in Combiner Wars. But yeah, sorry, go on, Jason.
I thought Stripes was one of the original tapes, or one of the second gen of tapes or something. But then there's this guy who is the first new. If I hold him that way, you can probably catch him in the light a little bit better.
Toaster cat.
So he's the first new Masterpiece cassette mold for a while.
Wow.
And yeah, so yeah, he's a little bit different. I quite like the way the legs can sort of stand out on these Masterpiece guys instead of just being straight up, flip out and down. So
there's plenty of hinges there too.
So they haven't done a steel jaw with that mold?
No, but there's time. Give him time. Let him release Blaster and a couple more actual Autobot cassettes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of burying the lead, because the other thing that was in the box that came from Japan this week was, of course, Masterpiece Sunstreaker.
Of course.
He is a very pretty bot. He's fantastic. He does. I think, as we discovered when we were looking at some shots last week, he does have quite a backpack on him, and that backpack is quite complicated. But he does. He also in vehicle mode does actually have the ability to. You can basically flip the back up and flip it around and so you don't actually have to detach the turbo jets from his back. The vents and stuff, so they stay a part of him as he transforms. So
right.
Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, he is a fantastic looking bot. And I have to get him to look up there.
I've heard nothing but good things about him. He's supposed to be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I did a little photo shoot during the week with Sideswipe and Sunstreaker side by side, and I think I don't think there's any more telling change between looking at MP12 and MP39 side by side, and you can see that Takara's really upped their game in terms of detail on these figures as well. And it's something I think that we've been lamenting for a while, in terms of like, they're just going for cartoon accuracy and just these big sweeping panels and stuff. But like, have a look at like the amount of stuff that goes into the side of him there, and the top. Like, this guy is hugely detailed for a bot that really actually looks pretty cartoon accurate. So that's really it's the new Masterpiece aesthetic. So, and I think we saw this with Megatron as well, where we had like the super amount of detail around his neck and shoulders, and it was just sort of like, I don't know if I really want that mess of stuff on that figure there. And then you get it in hand, you're like, yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No, I've on a lesser extent. I mean, there is a huge difference between having something in hand and seeing it in photos and stuff. And one of the things I was mildly shocked by the fact that some of the new bots I've got were the other two Titans Return Decepticon triple changes. I've recently got Blitzwing and Octone. And I wanted them both because I had Astro Train and I wanted the set. I wanted the trio, the token trio. But I was only really getting Blitzwing for that reason. And anytime I'd seen a photo of him, I was like, God, he looks awful. He looks absolutely terrible. But actually having him in hand,
he's pretty good, isn't he?
he looks pretty good, yeah. And I think it's the way that he's often displayed in photographs is that he's got very bulky arms, but people tend to sort of pull them out. He's got sort of like swivels on his shoulders. And because of that, he just looks really like misproportioned and all that. But actually having him in hand, it's just that reminder, going back to what you were talking about, Jason, that sometimes when you look at something and you've seen a million photos of it, you're like, no, actually, I like this. This is pretty nice. Like, yeah, there's a strange aesthetic change there from production to real life when you're actually holding it, you know. But he looks amazing.
I can't think of a single Masterpiece figure that's had a bad fan reaction that hasn't had that reaction completely turn around when people get it in hand.
Yeah, yeah. When you've actually got to play with one, things change.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I've even been impressed by these little guys. Like, you know, the new cassettes. I'll admit I haven't actually taken most of my Masterpiece cassettes out and played with them and transformed them a lot. And so, yeah, these were quite fun to get out and have a play with. So yeah,
they look like I mean, it's pretty hard to get something to turn into a thin rectangle and still look good.
Yeah.
So you know, when they're mastering that, that's a good sign for the rest of the. You know, yeah.
Have you seen the amount of volume that got added? Remember when Xiaomi did their Optimus Prime battery pack last year for Hascon? But that was not Xiaomi's first, or at least they didn't do it. It was a licensed product, but it was not the first time that had happened because they licensed a tablet to transform into Soundwave. Like that thing is that thin in tablet mode, and so there's so many places where like you'll fold something and it's like. Increase, you know, fold something out that way and then in, and it's like you've suddenly doubled the depth of this of the figure. And so, and at the end of it, like he's got legs that have you know, multiple parts folded in upon themselves, and yeah, it's an impressive amount of volume that they've added when that guy's in robot mode. He misses a lot of things, like he doesn't have proper swivels on his arms and stuff, but still he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, feat of engineering from what I hear. What's his sorry, before we move on, I just wanted to know what's his I mean, I've seen photos of course, but Sunstreaker's Lambo mode. Are you happy with that in hand?
Limbo
considering
mode.
so much of it folds away and, you know.
I don't know what you mean by limbo mode, but like
I said Lambo. Lamborghini.
Oh, Lambo, right, sorry.
Limbo mode.
Like the bot can do a handstand, but I'm not sure if he can play limbo.
That's what Chip's for.
So his car mode is lovely. I didn't keep him in the car mode for long. I snapped a photo of it sitting on the instructions to transform him into robot mode, and I keep most of my bots in robot mode. But like his car mode is definitely a really nice approximation of a Lamborghini. I don't think his Lambo mode is actually based on a real Lambo, is it? Or there's a few
it's a Countach. Both him and Sideswipe are just different versions of the Countach, I think, which is a very old Lambo.
Except for the back.
The
back was
so
concept.
The back is quite different. So he comes in the
concept.
Oh,
not Countach. I'm thinking, Diablo. I'm pretty certain they're supposed to be.
Pretty sure the other guys are. Pretty sure the other guys are in fact Countaches, but this guy might not be. But I don't know cars. I ride a bike, so like that's my excuse for not knowing what the hell the alt mode is. But he does come in the bot. He does come in the concept mode in the box. So he does have the jets and the turbo intakes whatever out the back. And so the first step in the instructions is showing you how to put that away.
Yeah. Yeah, for the longest time, one of the big hang-ups they reckon was that Lamborghini didn't want to license it because it wasn't one of the actual cars, and that's what sort of the hang-up was. But
okay, yeah.
As you said, you can get and hide that stuff under the back and make it look like yellow sideswipe or.
So I kind of feel like a lot of that stuff tends to be hearsay. Like the number of times we hear people go like, "Oh, there'll never be a Masterpiece Sunstreaker," until there is.
Or Megatron.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
All right, I think we are about done. Let's try and bring this to a bit of a close, shall we? This is of course the 19th of January. Coming up next weekend is Australia Day. Australia Day is on the Friday. So if you are in Melbourne or you're in Sydney, there are Australia Day TCCA events. There's a barbecue in Melbourne and there's a meetup at a Hog's Breath Cafe in Sydney, I think out Parramatta way. Parramatta is the geographic centre of Sydney, so yeah, it's in a good place. And excuse me. And given that TCCA membership does run from July to June, we are making a last push for memberships. There are 20 warrior level packs still available. So, if you like what we do and you want to help support us, then please consider signing up for a membership. There is a members only giveaway that will be on Australia Day as well. So you have to be a member to be in it. There's a Bad Cube pipes and a one of a kind Decepticon doormat, courtesy of Mikey.
That's mine.
Offer for members.
I need that.
You actually really do, don't you?
It says welcome overlords. So that I need it.
You need to put multiple overlord figures next to it. All right, so that is it. Given that the Australia Day stuff is happening next Friday, we might not be on the air next Friday, but we might be on the air Saturday. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. If you are watching the live record, thank you for checking us out. You can find links to all of the stories and things that we've talked about in the run sheet, and show notes are posted to the Facebook page and the Podbean site. Our Facebook page is Australian Transformers Weekly, and our Podbean site is transformersweekly.podbean.com. And you can find us all in Transformers Collectors Club Australia on Facebook. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, funnily enough. The club is registered and incorporated in Victoria. TCCA is run by volunteers who donate their time and money to make the club better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country, if not around the world, and we do it by engaging the collecting community. So please do consider signing up for membership. You can find out more information at transformerscca.com. Thank you for listening, everyone. We will be back with more news next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys. All right.